Good evening. My name is Annie Pena Castellanos, and in this video, I will be talking about data collection, behavioral data collection, the different types, and how it's beneficial for the student and the classroom environment to collect data over time. First prompt: describe how the data collection and analysis of behavioral data can assist maintain positive classroom environment for all students. So when tracking student behavior over time, and this goes for students who display atypical and typical behaviors, it over time could teach us what works and what doesn't work in the classroom. So for example, what kind of behavioral reinforcement systems could work. So if students respond well to positive reinforcement like sticker rewards, or if students are more receptive to verbal positive reinforcement like saying good job friends for cleaning up the classroom, good job at completing your work, stuff like that. So when we track student behavior over time, teachers are able to understand what students respond to best, and based on their ability to stay focused during small and large group activities. Prompt number 2, describing the benefits of 3 different methods of documentation and organizing for observing behavioral data. So having multiple sources of documentation is important when collecting data and when analyzing data. One method being screening instruments. So this is typically used during intake or in the first 6 weeks of receiving a new student or the beginning of the school year. This is where parents, teachers, and administrative staff work together to fill out questionnaires like the ASQ or the ASQSE to analyze student behavior through questionnaires. The second method being anecdotal recording. So this could be teachers taking notes on students after noticing any behavioral challenges or any behavioral progression throughout the school year. This data is then stored into another system. It could be digital or handwritten, where the teachers could refer back to see their progress over time. And 3, interval recording. So this could look like setting up a camera and having teachers record a set period. This could be during large group or small group activities, or even like circle times or group gatherings, where the teachers are more able to capture the entire group behavior and highlighting key students if there's any concerns with specific students. Prompt number 3, identifying factors that might influence or hinder accurate behavioral data collection. There are so many different things that could come into play that can influence or hinder how teachers analyze and collect data. And it all leads down to teacher bias. Do teachers have biases against race, culture, and ethnicity of the student, or their language skills, their English language skills, as well as stereotypes against students with physical or learning disabilities. This could play a role on how accurately teachers can document data. This could also lead to teachers simply not understanding if the student fully comprehends what they're teaching. So this could be if it's behavioral, cognitive, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, or language barriers. Teachers not understanding if the student is comprehending that, the lessons being taught. The fifth prompt, explaining the importance of collaborating with families in the process of collecting data about students, home environment, and family dynamics. So working with student families could give us insight of how their behavior may look in another setting. So usually families are interacting with their student one-on-one or watching how they interact with peers and other family members versus when teachers are seeing how students are interacting with how students are interacting in the classroom with other students their age. So an example of this could be from the reading provided by the professor in class, Center of the Social and Emotional Foundations of Early Learning. The example given is Ms. Jordan and Miss Akot contacting Derek's grandmother about concerns for his recent behavior. So the example given in the reading shows how teachers are, one, expressing concerns about behavior in the classroom, two, contacting a family member or relative about said behavior, setting up a meeting with with the parents, with the families of the student to discuss this behavior on whether the families agree and if they would like to set up goals and a system for collecting behavioral data from both sides of the student experience. So having Derek's grandmother collect data on who he interacts with at home, what could trigger him at home, and what were the consequences of that behavior or that reaction to a trigger. In turn, teachers would also be providing that same information, and they would meet up again in a few weeks to figure out to pinpoint what exactly needs to be worked on by the families and by the teachers, as well as discussing any changes they may have seen. So better or for worse, any changes they may have noticed. Okay. One way I plan on working with my families is through one-on-one physical meetings. So this may look like holding meetings about any concerns or any goals parents might want to set with me at the beginning of the school year or in the middle of the school year, or any concerns that they see the student has digressed. We could work on it one-on-one to set goals on how to regulate those behaviors. And another way would be through online communications. My school uses an app called Remind, where we could send parents photo or message updates about student behavior and things I noticed in the classroom, and vice versa. They could send me things they have noticed at home that has changed. Doing this helps us not having to only rely on the physical meetings, but having parents have direct communication with us to let us know about any changes they see throughout the week. So the different behavioral collection between birth and preschool and K through third grade environments. Typically, birth through preschool environments mainly focus on social emotional skills, cognitive skills of the student. This means that the environment is mainly focused on positive reinforcement on rules and routines. This helps students mold, one, the concept of time, two, learn about self-discipline, and three, teach students about behavioral consequences, so rewarding good behavior or giving consequences to bad behavior. In kindergarten through third grade, this type of behavioral data shifts from cognitive and social emotional skills to academic skills. So students are able to meet reading, writing, and inquisitive skills. And if behavioral issues get in the way of them meeting those skills, rather than focusing on rules and routine. And finally, comparing the collection of behavioral data of children with and without exceptionalities. Depending on the student's needs and accommodations and goals, behavioral data collection looks different. Students with exceptionalities are tracked with behavior over time, rather than students who have no exceptionalities are tracked over academic development, and what they aren't able to complete. This is important because when collecting data, teachers are looking out for different developmental growth and skill sets for each student. So it tailors more towards what the student accommodations might look like.